to 3 years of UPA 2s in office. It has been 3 years full of scams, high inflation, dipping growth and policy paralysis. But the bigger question that we at ET now would want to ask is, can the government really turn the tide with just 2 years to go for general elections, or with politics really overtake sound economics? 3 years after being sworn into office, UPA's second term has been mired in controversy. It has been 3 years of scam, high inflation, dented growth, policy paralysis and a sense of drift in New Delhi. The multi-crore 2G spectrum scam has haunted the government and shook the telecom industry, which is still grappling with its after effect. From one controversy onto another, no one is willing to bite the bullet anymore. Policy paralysis has been the obvious result. The trust deficit between the industry and the government has widened further. But UPA's biggest failure has been inflation that has remained stubbornly high and growth that threatened to come to a grinding halt. High crude prices, the European crisis, the global slowdown has all had its impact, with the chief troubleshooter failing to find a remedy as well.
Buck stops at me, I agree. Buck stops at our door. I'm not passing on the back. I'm owning the responsibility. But I cannot be Don Quixote.
And right after the union budget, the GAR concerns and the retrospective tax legislation got the industry up in arms.
The concern we have in India is, particularly in taxation, that many times the laws are not clear. That uncertainty creates a lot of confusion. We would have liked the government to amend this regulation prospectively, not retrospectively.
There is much that needs to be done by UPA too. India's ambitious tax reforms, both the GST and the DTC, are still nowhere close to implementation. FDI in multi-brand retail, FDI in aviation, increasing FDI cap in insurance, key oil and fertilizer reforms that will trim the subsidy burden, they all need a strong will from policymakers to go through. And with general elections just 2 years away, experts are already asserting that reforms may have to wait. UPA's 3-year report card may have very little to cheer about, but these have been tough times as well. The big question now is, can the government take its adamant allies on board, convince the opposition and bite the bullet on reforms, instead of believing it's business as usual, when in reality it isn't? With Suchetna Ray, Supriya Srinath, ET Now, New Delhi.